Sådan, så kører den. Og så håber jeg på, at det virker, og at vi bagefter kan kigge på det og så videre. Den står i hvert fald og tæller sekunder,
Ja.
så det går jeg ud fra.
Men jeg tænker, at det måske er rart, hvis du spørger mig, så jeg ikke føler mig helt...
Ja, det gør jeg. Du så spørgsmålet var på engelsk, ikke også?
Jo.
Så det er fordi, at det er det, som vi gerne vil bruge på hjemmesiden. Det skal være på engelsk. Og der gør jeg det, at jeg klipper i det og sætter det sammen, og det får du lov at se, før vi publicerer noget som helst. Og hvis ikke du vil, så er det ikke nogen deal.
Fint.
Godt.
Det kan også være, at du slet ikke vil bruge noget af det bagefter.
Det kan godt være, at vi holder det til bacheloren. Nu får vi se.
Det ævler lidt jo.
Godt. So, today is February. It's not February. You climbed in February 2013. Today is the 15th of December 2015.
Yeah.
And my name is Helena Valrinta. I'm doing this as part of my bachelor. And your name is Henny Eriksson.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
About myself. Well, now I'm 49 and I work in a reception in a big company. Yikes! Der gik jeg allerede stå. I'm not married. I don't have any children. I love to travel a lot, but apart from Kilimanjaro, it's only been diving all my travels. So this is a really special trip for me.
But normally you have very active vacations. You go diving.
Yes.
Yes. What kind of diving is that?
Scuba diving. You know, now it's mostly sharks. You know, the bigger the better. The bigger teeth, the better. Yeah. But you know, any kind of scuba diving.
Yes.
I'm really into.
So you're into diving. How come you decided to climb Kilimanjaro?
Well, that's a really good question. Actually, I think it's because I really wanted to test my body, you know, to test myself, my mind as well. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a quick decision, and it wasn't something I thought about for many years. It was a really, really fast decision. And I have to say, I have a physical condition, so I think that's why a mountain, I thought. I just wanted to really see how far I could push myself.
Yes. So you actually climbed Kilimanjaro in spite of the fact that you have a physical condition.
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
Did you manage to reach the top?
Yes.
You did?
I did, yes.
Okay. And you say the main reason that you wanted to climb the mountain was to test what your body is able to.
Yes, and my mind as well.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, I have a MS, multiple sclerosis, and that can be tough, you know, energize-wise, to get your body to do stuff like that's very physical, challenging. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was the main thing, but to be honest, it was more my mind that was challenged. Okay. On the trip. Yeah, but it certainly was also my body. No worries about that. But that was it was very important for me to get to the top. I didn't really think about what's on the way. It was really important to reach the top, to prove to myself that my body could still do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you decided to climb, you started to look for a way to get to Kilimanjaro. How did you decide what company to climb with?
Well, it's a bit funny because I wanted to go, so I reached the top on the night when the full moon was up. Mm-hmm. And there was only one company, honestly, in Denmark where you could choose your own dates. Yeah, there was others where you travel in a group from Denmark, but it wasn't important for me. I didn't mind going by myself, but the full moon was just very important.
Yes,
you know, I just wanted that to
okay. Were there other companies that had climbs that would actually be there on the full moon, but that was fixed from the start, or were they just on different dates?
Ooh, it was different dates. I think it's a while ago, so I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that was the main reason why I chose this company. That was the full moon, yeah.
You were able to choose your own dates.
Yes, exactly.
My next question was the main values you were looking for when you search for a climbing company, but that sounds irrelevant.
Yes,
Not important.
irrelevant.
Not
Yeah, I
important.
understand. Yes, actually, that was just the main reason. And I was looking at two companies, and the other one were fixed dates, and it was a fixed group from Denmark going together.
Yeah, so you did not look for any specific values or anything. It was your goal was the specific date.
Yes. Embarrassingly, I have to. Yeah.
No, that's very personal. Why you choose a different thing. So that's for me a very important information.
True.
Did you look for any information about how and what to prepare?
Not so much. I looked, of course, at the list, what to bring, but not that much. I think I was just had my mind very set to that. Yeah, I just had to reach the top. I looked, of course, for the travel agency sent you a packing list, what to bring, and but I didn't do a lot of research.
Nope.
Around that. No, I was just thinking that, well, it's up to me. I just have to, I really have to set my mind to this and yes. I'm probably not that typical, but yeah, that's the way it happened.
And I was going to ask it if it was easy to find the information you were looking for, but you were not looking. The company sent you. Is that right?
If it was
easy to find what you were looking for.
Well, I wasn't looking that much, as I said, but they did send a packing list and tried to explain things about what was important about keeping hydrated and don't smoke and all this. Yeah, so absolutely, they had very good tips.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yes. So what did you expect before you got there? What did you expect from Kilimanjaro and the trip?
I have to say, I wasn't really expecting anything much because this was it was really personal for me, as I said, to push myself. So I didn't really think about what's the nature like, what are the tents like, what is anything like, It was just, I was just so very focused.
Yes.
I just have to get to the top, don't care about the rest. Yeah.
Okay. So how was it? How was it when you were actually climbing? Did you notice anything or were you still focused on the top?
Well, I actually kind of quickly forgot about the top because I just was so surprised of the different kind of climates as you went further along. It changed from very tropical and very green to the very naked, and at the end or at the top there was absolutely nothing. The vegetation wasn't there anymore. It was very different.
Yeah.
And every day when we got up and we climbed, I've just felt so lucky because it was so big bonuses for me because I was just focused on the top. So it was the landscaping, the quietness. When you got up further and further, it was so quiet, it was misty and it was so excellent. And I never forget this. I never forget the different vegetation. And when you looked at the sky, I never seen the sky this color. Before or after I came home, I never saw a sky like this. And that was, it just added to my experience, everything, and at nighttime, of course, we were going towards the full moon. It was bright outside. It was very cold and very quiet and almost black, but the big moon was it got to me, as you can hear.
Yeah.
It was very special.
What would you say was your biggest experience, that made the most impression on you?
Well, after reaching the top, which was, of course, what I set out to do, but um, I have to say, this quietness. You know, it was a bit eerie at one point, but you know, it was foggy, it was kind of like walking in snow. It was a different. It was just very different. I mean, you have to go there to experience it. It's very tough to explain, but that I think that was amazing. You can find this in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never seen that before, but of course I never been on a mountain before. But that was I really remember that. Thinking back, kind of you can feel the air, you can feel the silence.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really nice.
You started out by saying that you have a physical condition. How was it? What was your hardest moment? Was it the mind or was it the body?
Well, I have to say it was my body. Because the toughest was the last night, you know, getting to the top. That was wow. I never thought it would feel like this. My body weighed like a ton, felt like an elephant. I was so tired, so sleepy, but it was just, there was no question that I was going to turn around. Absolutely no question. But wow, that was really, really a tough night.
Yeah.
It was. But the bigger the victory, you know, the bigger the excitement when you get there and you think, oh, I did it. And it was hard work. The last night definitely was. Yeah.
But there were not any moments where you thought of giving up?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No. So when you actually did reach the top, was it worth it?
Well, it was. I had to cry a little bit, and it was just so exciting. But it was too short. You know, you only have a short moment up there because of the altitude, and you have to hurry back because of the daylight, and you have to reach back to the camp before the sun sets. So it was a bit crazy, but it was also, when you get there, you have this feeling, I just did this, and that's what I set out to do. So yeah, it's hard to explain also because I was very affected by the altitude. I definitely was. And as I just said, my body was like an elephant. So it wasn't the crazy rush, but that got to you going down. You know, it really did. Yeah, definitely.
You said you were affected by the altitude. In what way? Yes. How did you feel it?
Well, like, I was so heavy, and at some point, and I remember that going up, I got a bit when I sat down, and I remember the guys who were helping us, you know, kind of touching my cheek, and I was laughing like I was a bit drunk, which I wasn't. But it's really, it's hard to explain, but you. I mean, either you can cope with it or you cannot, and it's not up to yourself. I mean, and I was lucky, you know, it let me go all the way, but that's the difficult part. I think that's the altitude, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So, in your opinion, I'm changing the subject a bit now. In your opinion, when climbing Kilimanjaro, what must never go wrong?
Well, do you mean like around you physically or with yourself?
No, it's just your feeling. When you climb it, in your personal opinion, this must not fail. This must never go wrong.
Well, of course the altitude, but you cannot do anything about that. Well, you definitely have to make sure you drink water, and that's very difficult. It's very difficult to remember, and the higher you get, it gets a bit frozen, and it affects you really a lot. It does. Yeah, and of course safety. You know, the safety, the people around you, all the staff who was helping us. And I mean, if it hadn't been for the staff, if I had to do this on my own, all alone, I wouldn't have succeeded. I have to say that. So I know it's not just my own mind. Of course, it's not. It's all the people around you who help you up.
Yeah.
For me, absolutely, definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I twist the question a little bit,
Mm.
what must succeed?
Well, for me, of course, getting to the top. If I hadn't done that, I would feel this was just a total waste. And of course it wasn't, but that was just really my main goal. Definitely, absolutely. And well, you really have to want this, but you also have to want the people around you. And for me, they were just, as you, of course, you were there with me. But that was a big help. And you have to be able to, let people in and lean a bit, but also give a bit of help. And you have to want the people you are with. It's not, for me, definitely not, it's not a one person thing. And there was, you have to have the heart with you, the want with you. Yeah, that was very important for me.
Yeah.
And also, if nobody carried all this weight for me, then that wouldn't have happened either. So, yeah.
Have you recommended others to do the climb after you have returned home?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why do you recommend it?
Sorry?
Why do you recommend it?
Well, I know this maybe have been very special for me, but it was it changed a lot of things in the way I'm thinking now. Also, the way I travel. Before I could maybe a little. I would like people with me that I know to go travel, but I don't mind anymore, and I really got a lot of confidence about what my body can do if I set my mind to it. And also, it's just, well, as I was saying with the nature and I try to explain with the air and all this, it's really a once in a lifetime experience. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. I definitely would. Even with the last night, that was so tough. I definitely would. And it's, it's hard to explain what how it affects you. You really have to go there to experience that. It's very interesting. Yeah, beautiful and very interesting at the same time.
Have you recommended someone not to climb it?
No, no,
No.
no, absolutely not. But you, of course, have to think about the altitude. Yeah, because it's not like rock climbing; it's more like just walking. But you have to think about the altitude, definitely. And I would at any time say take more days and do the beautiful route, and allow your body to get used to the altitude on the way. And also, I mean, I was so surprised about the nature, and that really gave extra to the whole thing for me. So yes.
Yeah.
No, I would never say don't do it. Do it. But of course, do it. If you have the opportunity, I mean, wow. Absolutely.
Okay, so if you got the chance to go back and do it again, would you try the different things like participating in a marathon or biking or go on a safari or any of those things?
Yes, I have to say I regretted not doing that a little bit. I should have done some safaris and also the biking, the marathon. No, thank you. But yeah, I regretted that. Actually, the day I came down, I was talking to this woman and she's been out and they saw these four lion cubs, Oh, and I just kicked myself and thought it's so silly to go so far and not do some of the country as well because it's so different. And the town of Moshi, the people are so colorful to look at, and the culture is so different from ours. So yeah, I definitely would.
Yeah. So you say the people are different. What about the crew? What do you remember from the crew?
I remember thinking that, wow, they work very hard
Mm-hmm.
for, I don't know what they get paid, but they definitely work extremely hard. Especially the guys who was carrying all the luggage and, well, the guides, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I could get a bit like, oh, they carry all this for me, they set up the tent and they put everything, they cook all the food, they do everything for you. And I thought, wow,
Mm,
yeah, they definitely work hard.
they do. Is there
Definitely.
anyone from the crew that you remember?
I remember, of course, Freddie, who was a main guide, but and he was very nice. But then, of course, there was Jacob, who was my favorite guide. But of course, it's different who you like the best. He was very. He just has this quiet way about moving.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't talk all the time, but some people like that. But he was a very safe guy to be next to, which I really liked. And the cook,
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name.
Ambrose?
Yes, the cook. Oh, he was so nice, so smiley, and those are my
Mm.
two main. Really,
Jacob and Ambrose?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it makes a difference. It does make a difference what kind of person you have next to you on a trip like this to keep up the spirit, keep up the belief in you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
If you should try and imagine the climb, how would you feel if you were getting to know all of the crew before you were climbing, being introduced to them, maybe having your tea with them during the climb? Would that add anything, do you think?
I think maybe to meet them before I go.
Mm-hmm.
On the way up, I would like to speak to them, but I also thought to myself, they really need their time to rest and to step back from all these tourists.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would probably feel it would be irritating for them.
Okay.
I think they need their time off, the little time they have to rest and they work so hard on the way. But
Mm-hmm.
it would have been nice to say hello before we went up. But
Yeah.
it didn't. I didn't think about it as a thing that I wish I had.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think about that in that way. But I think they should be. It should be if they want to come and join and say, "Can we have a cup of something?" Absolutely, but I wouldn't want to impose because wow, they just work so much.
Yeah.
So I think it should be up to them if they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were saying that you didn't know how much they were paid, but they were carrying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought of the working condition for the people on Kilimanjaro?
Yes. I mean, yeah, but listen, some of them didn't have gloves for their hands. The shoes were kind of falling apart on the feet. They had really old clothes and old gear, and we actually talked about it. And I know they said they had to pay for their own, but honestly, and I think the company in Africa she should absolutely take better care of her staff.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked a lot about it, and I thought a lot about it afterwards. I think, I don't know how much money she makes, but I think she could maybe drive a smaller car and take a bit better care of her staff, because this is, it's not an easy job. It's very challenging and very hard on everybody's body. No matter how many times they do it, it's really tough. And I think the least she could do was to provide them with some decent gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you travel a lot with diving and stuff like that, do you ever think about the working conditions for the locals when you go travel, like in general?
Yeah, I do, but diving is kind of like Kilimanjaro, probably. There's always tips to be paid on top of on the tour, and we know that. But we do think about it actually, because doing all this made me think about the different diet trips I've done, and there was this one guy who just hit our hearts, and we collected money, and he could make a new floor in his
Mm-hmm.
house. He was getting married, and we did that actually after we come home on top of the tip. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think about it, but it depends where in the world you
Yeah.
go. I just been to Bahamas. The Americans working on the boat, they're well taken care of. They have a fine life,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't get paid enough, I think it's the bosses you have to get.
Yes.
It's different in Asia and Africa, obviously, because that's really the workers who don't get paid and they don't have anything. So yeah, think about it.
Do you consider it when you choose your tour operator, the travel agency?
Uh, no, because there's not really you can't really make
Yeah.
sure to. I don't find any companies who say anything about this. By experience and by traveling, I know which part of the world you expect that the workers don't have anything, and you think about that going there. In America, it's more, yeah, they have a
Mm-hmm.
lot, but of course they're dependent on tips as well. I know this, but they're not
No.
starving, and no, and they have
No.
houses. So for that part, the eastern part, I think it's more, or the western world, it's more a matter of the boss have to drive a
Yeah.
smaller car, absolutely. But in Asia, I don't think they don't have this mentality, or in Africa, it's like every man for
Mm-hmm.
himself. So of course I think about it, but there's no companies offering or saying, if you travel with us, we make sure that the people working
Yeah.
get paid. It's only if you buy coffee or stuff at home you can buy
Mm.
fair trade, but I never seen it. Travel companies
Yeah.
doing that. I
So
haven't.
normally when you buy fair trade goods, you mentioned the coffee. Sometimes it's more
Hmm.
expensive. And in Scandinavia,
Yeah.
we buy it because it's fair trade. If, like, say your Kilimanjaro climb, would you pay more if it was ensured that the workers actually got paid?
Well, to be honest, knowing what I know
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I would. Before I went, I
Yeah.
don't know because I didn't really know that the conditions for the workers were
Yeah.
that tough as I honestly think. It was really tough, and not, you could feel a bit bad, being a fat white Danish person, who just come there to climb the top, and these poor people. I mean, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. Um, so if I was enlightened as I
Mm.
am now, but I don't know, to be honest, if I would have at the time. I would need some information as
Yes.
well.
Now,
Yeah.
how much more would you pay, like in percent, if you should just mention something?
Um, in percent, I would say, because now I know what I
Mm-hmm.
paid at that time, 10% I
Yeah.
yes would, if I'm able to, because I know I have what I should have, but
Mm-hmm.
still I'm not a rich person, so I have
Mm-hmm.
to think about my expenses, of course. But 10% I
Yeah.
think would be fair. And I think also, but I don't know if that's possible, or just dreaming, that you could maybe pressure the people down there who really takes all the money and pay their workers very little. I don't know if it's possible, but it would be nice. I think it's too hard, to do, too unfair
Yeah.
to these people. I definitely think it is, with the amount of work they have to
Mm-hmm.
put into it.
Would there be anything else that you would be willing to pay extra for? Like, if this was included, then you would gladly pay more.
Um, if there was a toilet. But no, you get used to stuff. No, I don't know what it should be, because you also have to be a bit not too easy, because then it's
Mm.
not real for me. I wanted to fight for getting to the top, and roughing it is part of it. And I know there's different levels you could see in these camps. Some had really big tents, an eating tent where everything was served and very. I think this was fine for me. I wasn't crazy about the food, but it doesn't matter for me. The food is not that important. I know it is to many people, but to me, I can get full. It's not a problem.
So you mentioned the food, and you say I was not crazy about it. You eat it, and you should. But if you could come up with a menu and say this would be great, what would that be?
Yeah. Well, I have to say there was a lot of toast bread and and jam and stuff, and I like some meat and greens but for me, whatever makes it easier for the people who have to carry it, and it have to be practical as well, So if that's what's practical and if that's a good idea, and they done it, so I know nothing. So if that's it, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I can eat whatever. Yeah.
Do you buy fair trade goods? No. Why not?
No. Now I sit here and I'm very, and then, no, I don't. Well, there's not that much fair trade to get. I think it's mostly coffee and tea and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe it's because I know too little about it, and that's my own fault, of course. I can get a little, and it doesn't help, but I can get a little peed off, thinking that there's some people who get really big and fat for what they sell to us, and then they still want us to pay the worker to get what he should get, which they could pay by themselves if they were decent people. But it doesn't help the poor guy that I sit here and say, your boss should, because he's not going to. So doing this and reading this, of course, I'm going to think about it. I haven't thought about it because there's not a lot of information about it, and I don't see it a lot in my everyday life. I don't see it a lot in the supermarkets. I don't really. Maybe they should have a fair trade department like they have for ecological goods. You could do more for fair trade. Yeah. But it's a difficult thing.
Yes.
I think to think about.
So we're getting close to the end of this. If you have anything that you think, oh, I must say this as well, what would that be? About the climb and Kilimanjaro, the workers, whatever.
Yeah. It's so. It's just, I have to, the top of Kilimanjaro is called Uhuru Peak. Uhuru, which means freedom. Yeah, and every time I do something, I really said, not that I do it that often, but if it's like a big thing, I have these friends who was following me when I went up the mountain, and I still just send this text saying, Uhuru, and they know what I mean, because it was so big for me, Kilimanjaro. It changed so many things, and I can just say, do it if you have the chance. Please do it. It's just, for me, it was really a big experience. It definitely was. Yeah, and get the good guys, around you. That's important as well. The people you have around you. Yeah, the good cook and Jacob, I never forget these people, and that's a good thing, because sometimes you come home from a trip and you think it was nice, but the staff was so. But I'll never forget. I'm on Facebook with Jacob. I mean, how I made a big impression. Is this a good trip or not? My experience is definitely also thanks to them. Absolutely. Yeah. So do it. Just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That was 35 minutes. Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Really?
I will now
Wow.
shut off. So
Yeah.
whatever you say now will not be recorded.